The U.S. Air Force just rolled out its latest strategic stealth bomber, the B-21 Raider. The Air Force is looking to build a fleet of 100 Raiders to replace its aging and astronomically costly fleet of B-1s, B-2s, and potentially even the venerable 70-year-old B-52. According to the U.S. Congressional Budget Office, the B-1 costs about $18 billion a year to operate. And until the F-35 came along, the B-2 Spirit was the Air Force's most costly program ever, averaging $2.1 billion per aircraft and $160,000 per flight hour. Compared to the B-2, the B-21 is a steal at a projected $700 million per aircraft. But considering that Air Force procurement program costs have a tendency to balloon in the long run, the B-21's cost saving remains to be seen. Much of the B-21 is still very much classified. But the closest comparable aircraft to the B-21 is the B-2. On the surface, the B-21 looks like a newer, albeit smaller, B-2. The B-21's wingspan is 22 feet shorter than its predecessor, and its reported payload capacity is lower at an estimated 30,000 pounds to the B-2's 40,000 pounds. Both B-2 and B-21's manufacturer Northrop Grumman CEO Kathy Warden says that the payload capacity is smaller to increase the B-21's range, which as of now remains unknown. The B-2 has served as a member of the Air Force's strategic bomber fleet and a part of the nuclear triad since 1997. The three-pronged military force structure that consists of land-launched ICBMs, nuclear missile-armed submarines, and nuclear bombers. The idea being to have as many nuclear delivery methods as possible to maximize the chances of a successful strike in an end-of-the-world nuclear war scenario. Despite its smaller size, the B-21 is still very much a strategic nuclear bomber. But there are many other similarities between the old plane and the new one. Most obviously, they are both a flying wing design, affectionately known to aviators as a flying Dorito chip. Conventional aircraft are made up of three sections: wings, fuselage, and an empennage that houses the vertical and horizontal stabilizers. However, every additional surface on an airplane increases both drag, which reduces the aircraft's efficiency and range, and its radar cross-section, which is its visibility on radar. The B-21 and its predecessor B-2 did away with the fuselage and the empennage to create a flying wing where the cockpit, engines, and everything else are housed in this aerodynamically efficient and stealthy airframe. Fewer protrusions from the airframe, fewer things to cause drag and reflect radar. Looking at the latest images, however, what is striking about the B-21 is how clean it looks compared to the older B-2. One of the reasons why stealth aircrafts are so expensive to own and operate is that the skin not only has to be made out of expensive radar-absorbing materials, but that the skin has to be kept smooth and clean, as any imperfections could compromise the aircraft's radar-evading capabilities. Despite the older B-2 still being a very clean and streamlined aircraft, the B-21 looks like it's taken stealth a step further and has done away with many imperfections on its outer hull. However, this is only the first B-21 to see the light of day, and if the F-35 program is any indication, stealth planes tend to gather more and more impressions on their skin as time goes on, and upgrades are made to the original design. But stealth is not something that can be judged just by looking at it. Though the general shape of an aircraft can tell you that it is a stealthy plane, it is impossible to tell just how stealth it is. Much remains to be discovered about the B-21, which is due to take to the skies sometime next year. And as time goes on, as we find out more about the B-21, many facts are sure to change. However, one thing remains clear. As the United States shifts its attention towards near-peer adversaries like Russia and China, the threat of nuclear war once again becomes an ever-present fear. And the B-21 is a sign that the US is still very much concerned with nuclear weapons delivery.